For years, farmers have been told the same thing. Pale yolks are normal. Tough meat is just what happens if you cook it wrong. Blame the breed, blame the heat, blame yourself. But quietly, in backyards across this country, small flock owners have been producing eggs with deep, rich, almost amber-orange yolks. Tender meat that doesn't need to be marinated for hours just to taste like something. And they're doing it without expensive supplements, without chemicals, and without anything that comes in a corporate branded bag. The transformation they're seeing doesn't take months, it takes less than a week. And the ingredient making it happen? It's cheap. It's natural. You can grow it yourself. It's been used on family farms across Europe, Asia, and parts of Latin America for generations. So the real question isn't whether it works. The question is why no one in commercial agriculture is talking about it. That's exactly what this video is going to answer. I'm going to show you what this superfeed is, why it works biologically, how to use it correctly, and why it has stayed off the radar for this long. If you raise chickens or you're planning to, this is one of the most practical things you'll watch this year. If you keep chickens or you're thinking about starting, subscribe to Nature Hidden Value right now. This channel is built around small farm strategies that improve food quality and increase profit without wasting money on things that don't work. New videos go up every week, and this is the kind of content we cover consistently. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Most backyard farmers spend a lot of energy thinking about breed, which chicken lays the most eggs, which breed puts on muscle fastest, and breed matters, no question. But what most people completely overlook is micronutrients, specifically carotenoids, and that oversight is costing them egg quality, meat quality, and money. Carotenoids are the pigment compounds responsible for the deep color in carrots, sweet potatoes, leafy greens, and certain flowers. When chickens consume carotenoids at meaningful levels, their bodies don't just process them and move on. They deposit them directly into developing egg yolk and into muscle tissue. No synthetic dye involved, no chemical process. It's a direct transfer from plant to egg. That is why the yolk color shifts. It is not cosmetic. It is a visible indicator that the egg now contains significantly higher levels of fat-soluble vitamins and antioxidants than it did before. The color change happens fast. Within 5 to 7 days of consistent feeding, you will see yolks moving from pale yellow to a deep golden orange. Some people notice the shift as early as day 3, especially with younger laying hens that are actively producing. I'll walk you through the exact dosage and how to set it up correctly in a moment, because consistency matters here, and there's a right way to do this. To start using calendula, here is what you need. The simplest option is dried calendula petals. You can find organic dried petals online for around $10 to $15 per pound. 1 pound is enough to supplement a small flock for several months. Look for organic sourcing and make sure it's Calendula officinalis, not a generic marigold blend. If you want to grow your own, and this is worth considering long-term, calendula is one of the easiest flowers to grow in most of the United States. It thrives in USDA zones 3 through 10, which covers nearly the entire continental U.S. In colder zones, zones 3 and 4, it grows as an annual. You plant in spring, harvest through the season, and dry what you collect for winter supplementation. In moderate zones, 5 through 7, it follows the same annual pattern but with a longer growing window. In warmer climates, zones 6 through 10, calendula can reseed naturally and return on its own each year, which means after the first planting, you may never need to buy seeds again. It is drought tolerant once established, it prefers full sun, it deters garden pests naturally, which makes it a useful addition near your coop or along your fence line. If growing isn't where you are right now, just start with dried petals. Store them in an airtight container away from direct sunlight. A mason jar in your feed storage area works perfectly. For dosage, the practical number is 2 to 3 tablespoons per 10 birds daily. You mix it directly into their regular feed. No grinder required, no measuring scale. You can crumble the dried petals with your hands right into the feed bin, or pulse them briefly in a coffee grinder if you prefer a finer texture. Either way works. The chickens eat it readily alongside their regular feed. If this is already shifting how you think about what goes into your feed routine, subscribe to Nature's Hidden Value. Most small farmers put all their focus on the animals themselves. The real difference in food quality and the real profit opportunity often hides in what you're feeding them. That's what this channel is here to unpack week after week. Subscribe and stay with us. How to keep it working. This is where most people quietly lose their results and don't understand why. They add calendula for a few days, see the yolks improving, and then life gets busy. They skip a few days. The color fades back toward pale yellow, and they assume the feed stopped working. It didn't stop working. Carotenoids are not stored long-term in a bird's system. They move through quickly, which means consistency matters more than the amount you're using. A small daily dose every single day will always outperform a large dose given sporadically. The one habit that keeps this effortless is simple. Keep a small jar of dried calendula petals right beside your feed bin, not in a storage room, not in a cabinet, right there where you can see it every morning. That visual reminder is the difference between consistent results and inconsistent ones. You grab the feed, you see the jar, you add the petals. It becomes automatic within a week. Mix a weekly batch if you want to save even more time. Pre-mix 7 days worth of petals into a small container on Sunday, and you're done thinking about it for the rest of the week. 15 minutes, once a week, keeps everything running without any daily decision-making. The golden yolk effect matters, and I want you to understand exactly what is happening inside the egg. Pale yolks are not just less visually appealing, they are a direct signal of what is missing nutritionally. A pale yolk tells you the bird had low carotenoid intake. Low carotenoid intake means fewer antioxidants, lower vitamin A levels, and reduced nutritional value in every egg your family eats. That is the real cost of pale yolks, not just the color, the nutrition. When you introduce calendula consistently, here is what the timeline actually looks like. Days 1 through 3, you may notice a very subtle shift. The yolk begins to deepen slightly. It is easy to miss at this stage unless you are paying close attention. By day 5, the change is noticeable. The yolk is visibly richer. The pale yellow is gone and something warmer and deeper is taking its place. By day 7, you are looking at a deep golden orange tone that rivals or exceeds expensive pasture-raised eggs from specialty grocery stores, the kind that sell for $6, $7, $8 a dozen. The difference is not cosmetic. Studies on carotenoid-enriched eggs show they can contain up to 5 times more lutein than conventional eggs. That is a meaningful nutritional upgrade for your family, especially for children, elderly relatives, and anyone focused on long-term eye health and immune function. Here is something practical to do right now. Before you add calendula to your feed for the first time, crack one egg and take a photo of the yolk. Just a quick photo on your phone. Then, after 7 days of consistent feeding, crack another egg and compare. The before and after you see with your own eyes will tell you more than any study ever could. Drop your result in the comments. Tell us what day the color shifted for you. This community learns fastest when people share what actually happened in their own backyard, not just what the theory says should happen. There is also a real economic angle here that is worth understanding. If you sell eggs informally to neighbors, coworkers, or at a local farmer's market, calendula-fed eggs give you a visible quality difference that justifies premium pricing. Some small-scale producers charge 50% more for eggs with deep golden yolks because customers can see the difference immediately. When someone cracks your egg next to a store-bought egg, the conversation sells itself. Now let's move to the tender meat effect. because this is the part most people don't connect to feed, and it's just as significant as the yolk transformation. When backyard-raised chicken comes out tough or dry, the instinct is to blame the cooking, more marinade, lower heat, longer rest time. And sometimes the cooking does need adjusting, but often the real problem started weeks earlier in the feed. Tough meat in poultry is frequently linked to stress and inflammation in the bird during the growth period. Industrial chicken production pushes birds to market weight in 6 to 7 weeks. That accelerated timeline, combined with high-stress conditions and low-quality feed, results in meat that is stringy, dry, and lacking in depth of flavor. Home-raised birds don't have to follow that model, but they still need the right nutritional support to develop well. Calendula contains natural anti-inflammatory compounds that reduce oxidative stress in muscle tissue during the growth period. Less stress in the muscle means better fiber development. Better fiber development means more tender, flavorful meat at processing. This is the same principle behind why pasture-raised and grass-fed animals produce better-tasting meat than their factory-farmed counterparts. Diet shapes tissue quality at a fundamental level. For meat birds, the protocol is straightforward. Wait until week 2 before introducing calendula. Young chicks under 2 weeks old are still developing their digestive systems, and it is better to let them stabilize on starter feed first. After week 2, mix calendula in just as you would for laying hens. Continue consistently until processing. The most pronounced results come from birds that receive calendula from week 2 through 12 to 16 weeks of age. The longer the supplementation period, the more noticeable the improvement in tenderness and flavor. Breeds that respond particularly well include Cornish Cross, Freedom Rangers, Orpingtons, and Plymouth Rocks. Dual-purpose breeds benefit strongly because they develop over a longer timeline, giving the anti-inflammatory compounds more time to influence muscle quality throughout the growth period. When you roast a calendula-fed bird, the difference shows up in how the meat behaves during cooking. It stays moist. It requires less seasoning to taste exceptional. The flavor is richer and more complex in a way that store-bought chicken, regardless of how it is cooked, cannot replicate. That is not an exaggeration. It is the result of better nutrition expressing itself in the final product. There's also a measurable difference in fat composition. Calendula-fed poultry tends to show a better omega-3 to omega-6 ratio in the meat. For families focused on healthy eating, that is a meaningful advantage that goes beyond flavor. If you are serious about producing restaurant-quality food from a backyard flock, subscribe to Nature's Hidden Value right now. The strategies covered on this channel are the ones most small farmers never hear about because they are not profitable for the industry to promote. That is exactly why they belong here. Subscribe and make sure you catch every video. The part that ties everything together. Why does something this effective, this inexpensive, and this simple stay off the radar of modern agriculture? The answer is not complicated once you understand how the industry operates. Calendula cannot be patented. No company can own it. No corporation can control the supply of a flower that grows wild, reseeds naturally, and can be purchased for $15 a pound. That alone removes most of the financial incentive for the agricultural industry to promote it. The second reason is price. Commercial feed additives designed to enhance yolk color and meat quality cost 10 to 20 times more than calendula per unit of effect. Those products generate significant recurring revenue for feed companies. A flower you can grow yourself generates nothing for them. There is no marketing budget for something that empties no wallets. The third reason is scale. Large commercial poultry operations running tens of thousands of birds cannot practically implement flower-based supplementation. It does not fit a mechanized, automated system, so the research funding, the agricultural extension resources, and the industry publications all flow toward solutions that work at industrial scale. Solutions that require ongoing purchases from corporate suppliers. Solutions that keep small farmers dependent. This is not a conspiracy, it's just how incentives work. Research follows money, marketing follows profit margins, and traditional knowledge that empowers small farmers to be self-sufficient quietly gets left behind. The result is an information gap. Generations of farming wisdom that worked beautifully for small flocks gets treated as irrelevant because it cannot be monetized at scale. And small farmers who could benefit most from that knowledge never hear about it. This is exactly what this channel exists to correct. And there is one more layer to this story that most people miss entirely. Most commercial poultry feeds are built around cheap, shelf-stable ingredients, filler grains, synthetic preservatives, highly processed grain byproducts that provide calories but minimal nutritional value. These ingredients are included because they are inexpensive to source and have a long shelf life, not because they optimize bird health or food quality. When you strip those out and build a simple whole grain base instead, the calendula works even better. Your bird's digestive systems are cleaner, their absorption of carotenoids improves, the results come faster and hold more consistently. The whole grain base is simple. Whole corn, wheat, and oats form the foundation. Add dried calendula petals for carotenoids. Add oyster shell on the side for calcium and eggshell strength. That is your complete feed blend. No proprietary additives, no synthetic vitamins from a bag with a logo on it. The time investment to mix a large monthly batch is about 15 minutes. That is the total labor cost. And the financial savings compared to commercial bagged feed are substantial. Whole grains purchased directly from a local mill or farm supply store typically run about half the cost of processed commercial feed. Add your own calendula at $15 a pound and your feed cost drops significantly while your food quality goes up. This is how traditional farmers operated before convenience products took over, and their eggs and meat had a reputation for quality that modern commercial products have never come close to matching. Now, one more layer that matters depending on where you live. If you are in a warm climate, zones 8 through 10, you have the easiest setup of anyone. Calendula grows year-round in your region. You can maintain a continuous harvest, air-dry bundles as you cut them, and have a perpetual supply with minimal effort. Plant once near the coop and let it run. If you are in a moderate climate, zones 5 through 7, plant after your last frost date in spring. You will have a solid harvest window through fall. Dry and store enough before the first freeze to carry you through winter supplementation. In zones 6 and above, calendula may reseed on its own and return the following year. If you are in a cold climate, zones 3 or 4, treat it as a seasonal crop. Grow through your warm months, harvest aggressively, and stock up on commercially dried petals to bridge the winter months. Properly stored in an airtight container away from light, dried calendula holds its carotenoid potency all year. Regardless of your zone, the system works. The setup just looks slightly different depending on your growing season. Before we close, I want to hear from you directly. What USDA zone are you growing in? Are you raising layers, meat birds, or both? Have you noticed pale yolks in your flock that you could never fully explain? Drop your answers in the comments below. If you have already tried calendula or any other natural feed supplement, share what you saw. Your real-world experience is more valuable to someone just starting out than anything I can tell them from this side of the camera. Before and after photos of your yolks are especially welcome. Post them and let the community see what is possible. Subscribe to Nature's Hidden Value if you want higher profit from small livestock, better food quality for your family, lower feed costs, and systems that actually work on small land with real constraints. This channel covers the practical strategies that get left out of mainstream farming content because they don't benefit the industry, they benefit you. That is the entire point. Next video, we are breaking down another natural feed that cuts your protein costs by 30%. That one is worth staying for. You do not need industrial systems to produce exceptional food. You never did. You need one steady improvement applied consistently starting this week. Add calendula to your feed. Give it 7 days. Crack an egg on day 1 and take a photo. Then crack another on day 7 and see what changed. If your yolks turn deep orange within that week, come back to this video and drop your comment. That is how you know it worked. And that is how this community grows, one small farm at a time. One honest result shared openly. Building knowledge that no corporation has any interest in protecting for you. You are protecting it for each other. That matters more than most people realize.